Expeditions to Siberia always require the most serious preparation, and when it comes to the winter season, it is doubly serious. It is not like playing snowballs in the park. Nevertheless, there are enthusiasts who love to fight for life in extreme natural conditions for the sake of drive. As a rule, they make their trips to places where the average person would not stick for any money. Thanks to this, more often than not, coming back extreme people tell the most interesting and exciting stories related to their adventures. I don't only narrate, I also listen a lot. I love stories about outlandish phenomena, unseen animals and deserted corners of our planet. It so happened that my occupation is not connected with extreme sports, tourism, but in my free time I manage to hold meetings with acquaintances who are immersed in this process with their heads. It is thanks to this communication that I have the honor to retell you all the amazing things that meet my acquaintances. The Siberian taiga is incredibly beautiful in winter. The winter was harsher than usual. This period became a real challenge for extreme sports enthusiasts. The route planned by the group of travelers took almost 30-50 kilometers of off-road Siberian taiga, reserved places of indescribable beauty and serenity. In the middle of October, the group reached the working settlement Novobirushinsky, which stands on the river Birusa. From there, it was necessary to reach the Ungara River within 2 months, with a visit to Chervyanka settlement for resupply. Despite the difficulties and severe frosts, the detachment in full health and integrity overcame the planned distance and even ahead of their own calculations for 2 days. In Chervyanka, there was a meeting with local residents. During a friendly conversation, we talked about local spirits, entities, various phenomena that cannot be explained. You can as much as you want to write off everything to a low level of education, superstition, belief in shamanism, and so on. But when you personally encounter such manifestations, any skepticism falls away. So it happened with Moscow extremists. On the way from Chervyanka to the Ust-Ilimsk reservoir, something strange happened to the group. At one of the overnight stays, the men made another break. They set up tents, cleared a place for a fire, collected firewood and, despite the severe frost, stayed near the fire for some time. After dinner, the travelers sat and discussed what the locals had said. Opinions in the group were divided. Some of them were sure that all this was a lie, and the creatures seen by the locals were ordinary animals. Another part of the men had the impression that anything could live in the Siberian taiga. After chatting for about an hour, everyone went to their tents, but they did not have time to fall asleep. Despite the snowstorm and blizzard, a child's cry was clearly heard. Dazed travelers went outside. The sounds had not died down, they came from far away, but echoed through the forest. It didn't sound like an animal, it was a child crying. It was crying for help. Between fits of crying there was speech. The boy said he was freezing. The men rushed to the cry in an attempt to save the lost child. The extremists were ready to sacrifice their lives. The harsh snowstorm was subsiding, and then again dissipated with the strongest gusts. The boy's cry kept through it well. No matter how many men called him, he monotonously repeated a set of several phrases: "Help me, I'm cold. Somebody save me." At some point, the travelers realized that the voice kept moving an equal distance away from them, as if trying to lure them somewhere. And because of the bad weather, there was a great chance of not finding their way back to the camp. Having oriented themselves, everyone decided to return to the tents by their own footsteps, before they were covered with snow, to find their way back. It was 100 kilometers to the nearest settlement. How could a child wander into such a wilderness? We don't know. Everyone thought that it was some kind of nonsense, and in fact, there was no child there. Having reached the Ust-Ilimsk reservoir, the men questioned the locals. The children were not lost anytime soon. As for the screams, the taiga dwellers believed that there is some creature that lures travelers by changing its voice into a girlish or childlike one. If you hear it in the deep forests and try to save a lost person, you are likely to get lost yourself, and it is not a fact that you will get out alive. On the way back, the squad members questioned the locals, but no one confirmed the presence of a missing child. What did the stalkers actually encounter? And who knows? One thing is clear, all at once it could not have been imagined.